Well, obviously the worst case situation is forfeiture, where the whole home is seized and you don't get any compensation. And I know that there's this argument about it's technically rare and there's like 80 to 90 cases a year. It's a threat of forfeiture that basically forces, hapless tenants into paying these, bloated service charges. But beyond that, we have cases where people have gone into lifelong debt now because they just want to sell the thing to just get out of the service charge. Then you've got others like a 78-year-old military veteran who went back to work at Morrisons because he couldn't afford his service charge. You've got people that have become accidental landlords to live on houseboats because they can't afford the service charge. I think it's a really important point. I think everyone looks at leaseholders, it's a separate thing. It's about people that have bought a flat. It's affecting rental tenants too, because when service charges go up, sad to say, your rents get hiked too, because your buy-to-let landlord has a landlord of their own, and they have to protect themselves against the freeholder overcharging. And that's the reality. This is why I think renters need to get their heads in the game on leasehold, because leasehold is the first rung of the property ladder, and even if they can't ever afford to buy a flat, they're affected by leasehold by living in the block. Beyond that, they're affected by poor maintenance. They're the ones that can't get a hot shower in the morning to go to work because the freeholder, that they have no control over whatsoever, hasn't maintained the plant room because they see maintenance as a cost. But I think the reality is there's a really good analysis in the Financial Times a few months ago which basically said flat values in London are flat since 2019. So the service charges are having a huge impact. And we talk about service charge data. Hamptons has done some good data recently on this, but even they only look at the point of sale. We know so many developments where there's not even cladding issues or fire safety issues, but the flats are not coming to market because the service charges are too high. And I can say that in my own building. No one's been able to sell for about 2 years because the service charge is too high. People go, where's the swimming pool, where's the gym, where's the garden? And you go, no, I've just got a billionaire in Monaco. And lifts that don't work and windows that don't get washed. And they go, well, I'm not buying into this feudal money pit. And you say, well, don't blame you. But that's a big issue for Londoners. I think the fact is, even if you want to get out, you're trapped, and this is now beyond cladding. So I think that's a really important issue that for so many people, some people even taking on second jobs now as well to fund the service charge. So it really is a cost of living emergency for so many people in all income brackets. I think it's so important to say that. It doesn't matter who you are. If you've got a bad freeholder who's a freeloader, who's got a managing agent who's a henchman and want to extract as much money out of your home as possible, they will. And nothing really in the law is going to change that unless it's right to manage buying the freehold or moving to common hold. I think that's a really key thing that is causing a huge amount of financial stress and emotional stress, and I think the government don't understand that they're making themselves politically vulnerable by punting this to the end of the Parliament. We speak to so many people, lifelong Conservative voters, who defected to Labour on this issue alone in July, and they're saying they're going off democracy in this country. Successive parties have promised to get rid of leasehold. Why aren't they getting rid of it? Why are they saying it's all complicated? And you've got everyone, including on the leaseholder side, saying it's complicated. No. If you politically resource this thing, if you get in the best people, you do the Kate Bingham with the vaccines and all the rest of it, we're going to have flying cars before we get rid of a practically feudal property scheme. So I think that's really important, that we need pressure from the mayor to central government. They talk about making work pay. People on their phones crying because their service charge has gone up 40%. That's not making work pay, is it?
Okay.